Shalom everyone, welcome to Around the World. If you are new in this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. This teaching is the continuation of the previous video entitled Holy Land in a Nutshell. This is the part 2. The Jewish people believe that the Holy Land is the center point of the world, the eternal seat of God's kingdom on earth. Ezekiel 5:5. The land is a gift from God to be ruled and enjoyed, but they ruled none of it since the captivity. It was ruled by different nations and empires, the Assyrian on 722 BC, Babylonian on 586, Persian on 539, Greeks on 331, Egyptian Ptolemy on 323, Syrian Seleucids on 198, the Jewish Hasmonean dynasty on 147, only to be ruled again by another foreign ruler, the Roman Empire from 63 BC until 324 AD. This teaching will answer the question, what happened to the Holy Land after the Gospels, Acts, stories? The Bible was silent about the events, so let's find it out. After the ascension of Christ, the apostle went to various places of the world to continue the ministry of Jesus. But the land was the same. People eat, drink, marry, observe the Sabbath, celebrate the feast of the Lord like Passover, Pentecost, Yom Kippur, and Tabernacles. But conflict between the Jewish religious group and Roman political power could not be avoided. The Roman made it necessary to maintain close supervision over the Jewish religion, including the high priests, and especially with those self-proclaimed messiahs. And who were those self-proclaimed messiahs? First-century Jewish historian Flavius Josephus said that there were many fractious Jewish sects in and around Jerusalem. Famous are the parishes that control the synagogues, Sadducees that control the temple, Essenes who live in Qumran, the Sicarii, a splinter group of the Jewish zealots, the Jewish Christians, followers of Jesus of Nazareth, the Herodians, sect of Hellenistic Jews being hostile to Jewish movement, and many small cults scattered in various places. After the death of Herod the Great on 4 BC, rebellions exploded. Rioters burned down palaces. The bandits began to tear down Galilee and Jerusalem. Many people joined the rebellion in protest against Roman aggressions. This uprising, fueled by the messianic expectation of the Jews, caused the Holy Land to be in trouble. In the book of Acts, we were told that a man named Theudas arose, claiming to be somebody, but was slain. After him, Judas of Galilee rose up in the days of the census and drew away many people, and also perished. Acts chapter 5. An Egyptian Jew proclaimed himself Messiah and led 4,000 assassins in the wilderness, and it was a failure. Acts 21. Also, some people claimed that John the Baptist was another Messiah, and later was beheaded by Herod Antipas. It means that there were many failed individuals who claimed and proclaimed to be Messiah of Israel during the time, so that when Jesus was proclaimed King and Savior by his followers on 33 AD, many refused to believe, thinking that he was just another self-proclaimed Messiah. In 56 AD, 23 years after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, Sicarii leader Menachem murdered the high priest Jonathan in broad daylight. Menachem believed that the high priest had violated their slogan, "No Lord but God," for collaborating with the Romans. They also attacked the members of Jewish ruling class, plundering their possessions, kidnapping their relatives, and burning down their homes, sowing terrors in major cities of the Holy Land. Meanwhile, around 62 AD, James, the brother of the Lord, who was the bishop of the church in Jerusalem, was put to death by some Jewish religious leaders in the temple when he testified in favor of Jesus Christ. They began to stone him and beat out his brain with a club till he died. In 66 AD, the governor Florus of Judea claimed that the Jews owed Rome 100,000 denarii in unpaid tax. So he went to the temple and plundered the money that the Jews had offered as a sacrifice to Yahweh. Since then, a continuous riot sprang up, leading to the destruction of the temple. To calm the situation, the Roman governor sent Agrippa to diffuse the tension in Jerusalem. But the revolutionaries refused to listen, declaring that the zeal for God has inspired them to fight. At the temple, they stopped the daily sacrifices on behalf of the emperor, a signal that the Holy Land had declared its independence against Rome. Agrippa and Bernice, Acts 25:26, had fled the city. In the same year, the Sicarii seized Masada from the Roman soldiers and celebrated independence. They minted coins, inscribed with slogan, "Freedom of Zion." But Menachem declared himself Messiah, King of the Jews. Some followed, but many refused, so that they were divided. In 68 AD, under the leadership of Vespasian, the entire Holy Land, except Masada, was firmly back under Roman control. But in Rome, the city was in turmoil because Emperor Nero had committed suicide. Immediately, Vespasian returned to Rome and declared sole emperor of Roman Empire. Emperor Vespasian sent his son Titus to Judea in order to put to end the Jewish rebellion and devastate the lands, burn the temple, and destroy their faith. As a result, Titus sacked Jerusalem on 70 AD, killed thousands of people, destroyed the temple, leaving only the supporting walls, the western wall. 3 years later, they captured Masada, only to find out that the more than 900 Jewish rebels who hid themselves in this fortress had killed each other instead of surrendering to their enemies. Meanwhile, Titus brought golden tables, golden lampstand, and golden menorah to Rome, carrying in procession through the street of Rome. Vespasian declared that this was a victory not only over a people, but over their God. Not Judea, but Judaism had been defeated. During the war, the group of Pharisees, led by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, fled to Yavne and founded a school of Torah that would eventually evolve into Rabbinic Judaism. The Jewish Christians fled to Pella and continued their missionary works in Asia and Europe. Other groups like Sadducees and Essenes were dispersed and lost in the history. In 132 AD, 60 years after the first revolt, Emperor Hadrian joined the two provinces of Judea and Idumea as one province and changed the name to Palestina, with the intention of reviving the name of the Israelites' ancient enemy, the Philistine, and suppressing the Jewish connection to the land. Jerusalem was renamed Aelia Capitolina, and the temple was revealed to honor Roman gods, particularly Jupiter. Immediately, the Jews declared revolt, led by self-proclaimed Messiah named Bar Kokhba, but only to fall into the hands of the Romans, resulted in 500,000 Jews killed. Christians refused to support him because they only recognized one Messiah, Jesus of Nazareth. And this marked the parting away between Christianity and Judaism. Both Jews and Christians were expelled from Aelia Capitolina, and they left Palestina altogether for diaspora communities. Large number of prisoners of war were sold as slaves throughout the empire. By the year 195 AD, Hellenization of Palestina continued, while Jewish religious freedom was restored. However, Christianity in particular was practiced in secret because forming a new religion was illegal in Roman rule. By the turn of the century, further religious schism between Christianity and Judaism continued to multiply. Also, the Romans destroyed the community of the Mother Church in Jerusalem, so that the bishopric and leadership had ceased to exist. Jewish membership of the church became smaller and smaller, and later was swallowed up by mostly Gentile memberships. Following the victory of Constantine on 324 AD, the Christianization of the Roman Empire expanded. The entire Palestina was under his rule, while the city of Aelia Capitolina was renamed Jerusalem, back to its old name. In 326, Helena, the queen mother of Constantine, a devoted Christian, visited Jerusalem and ordered the destruction of Hadrian's Temple of Venus, which he built in 132 AD in the exact place of Golgotha, and built the Holy Sepulchre Church on top of it. Legends say that she found some piece of the true cross and said to be from the cross upon which Jesus was crucified. She also directed the construction of the Church of Nativity in Bethlehem and the Church of the Ascension on the Mount of Olives. In 380 AD, under the emperorship of Theodosius, Christianity was declared the state religion of the empire, and Palestina became part of the Eastern Roman Empire or Byzantine Empire. During the Byzantine, urbanization increased. Large new areas were put under cultivation, monasteries proliferated, and synagogues were restored. The city and Palestina reached their peak population and became center of Christianity while retaining significant Jewish and Samaritan communities. In 410 AD, Rome was sacked by the Visigoths, led by King Alaric. Rome lost its prestige and no longer the capital of Western Roman Empire, but replaced by Ravenna in the northern part of Italy. This caused a significant migration to Palestina by people in Europe and made Jerusalem's status as Patriarchate of the Church. Consequently, Jerusalem became the center of discipline of rhetoric, historiography, ecclesiastical and classical history, and hagiography. On 527 AD, Justinian I became emperor and undertook a number of building works in Jerusalem, including the once magnificent Nea Church of the Theotokos and the extension of the Cardo thoroughfare. In 613, the Persians conquered Palestina. They massacred Christian populations, destroyed many churches, and imprisoned the bishops and priests. Byzantine administration in Palestina was suspended during the Persian occupation from 613 to 628 AD. In 625 AD, the Byzantine army returned to the area, asking the Jews to join them to march to Jerusalem and prostrate the strength of the Sassanid Empire of Persia. Victoriously, the Byzantine regained the control of all churches and monasteries, including the True Cross and Holy Vessels. But in 636 AD, the Arab Muslim army conquered Palestina, and the Patriarch Sophronius of Jerusalem surrendered to Caliph Umar in person to Medina. Under Muslim rule, the Christian and Jewish populations, calling them people of the book, enjoyed religious freedom in exchange of jizya, a tax to be paid by all non-Muslims, called Dimis. Caliph Umar built a mosque called Al-Aqsa to the southern part of Temple Mount, believed by Islamic tradition to be a place that Muhammad was transported from the great mosque of Mecca to Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem during the night journey to heaven. In 687 to 691 AD, the Dome of the Rock was built under Umayyad Empire, becoming the world's first great work of Islamic architecture. The Umayyad rule allowed the Christians and Jews to visit the Holy Land. The Christians made generous donations to places in Holy Land and established pilgrims' inns to allow visitors and pilgrims to stay for a short period of time. Trading relations between Palestine and Europe was strong, and a trade fair took place in Jerusalem every year, where merchants from various European cities converged to acquire spices and other materials in exchange for European products. In 750, the Abbasid Caliph from Baghdad conquered many parts in the region, and Umayyad Empire collapsed. The Abbasids period marked the beginning of the Islamic Golden Age in the Holy Land, in which a number of scholars and intellectuals played an integral part. In 969 AD, the Fatimid Caliphate from Tunisia conquered Egypt and Palestine. They moved their capitals to the new city of Cairo and continued their expansion to the borders of Byzantine Empire. They ordered the destruction of all churches and synagogues in the Holy Land, including the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. In 1054, the Great Schism formally divided the Latin Church in the west and the Greek Orthodox Church in the east, resulting in the holy sites of Palestine falling under the jurisdiction of the Eastern Orthodox Church. In 1077, the Seljuk Turks invaded large portions of West Asia, and both Abbasid and Byzantine suffered setback from the fighting. Warfare between these three empires caused great disruption from the local population and for pilgrims. The Seljuk ruled, but they were unpopular and hated by the people. As the war continued in 1095, the news reached the ears of Pope Urban at the Council of Piacenza, requesting for mercenary forces, so that later that year at the Council of Clermont, Pope Urban called for the First Crusade. Thank you for watching. I hope that those information will help you to search for more on your spiritual journey. Please leave your comments. I would love to hear that from you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please hit subscribe so that you could receive notification on my next digital teachings. Just a reminder, always be safe and be with Jesus Christ, who is the Lord and Savior of our lives. See you again for the next part of this teaching. God bless.